Hey guys, Manhwa narrator with you. Today I will tell you a manhwa that tells about the interesting life of the Devil Emperor. Make some tea and let's get started. Thereby demon emperor who passed away exactly 300 years ago, he didn't even imagine that he could die suddenly. However, everything was not so simple. He had a system set up that helped him to live, it seems. Suddenly, an alert appeared. Master's last disciple has successfully reached the Holy Realm, as well as a second notification window notifies you of the activation of a single system. A Bei waking up, not understanding, he says, "Am I resurrected? I've been dead all these 300 years and now I'm alive." The man is a time traveler. After many rebirths, he managed to find and activate the system. This is the path he set for himself to become an emperor. After that, I began to recruit a team of students. The students called me Sir, Teacher, Master. Later, the system informed me that I could go against all the laws of nature and be resurrected if my students succeeded. After hearing this, I recruited 108 students for myself. Unfortunately, until my longevity ran out, I did not even think that I would have to wait for success from absolutely all my students. Realizing all this, he said, "I got too many of them." We see a system tooltip that notifies eBay about the successful completion of a quest in which all students had to break into the Holy Realm, the reward for which is resurrection. Flying his thoughts, he says, "Oh my God. Finally, after 300 years, I've waited for this day." And now, from a second to a second, he will become alive, but in a coffin. Full of anger, he asks the system, "Can you tell me which of the disciples was able to reach the Holy Realm just now?" Burning with anger, he wants to know what idiot took 300 years to get to the kingdom. An answer window pops up in which the system says that it cannot answer his question, since this is confidential information. Having learned this, he decided to ask the robot another question. The question was, "Okay, then tell me when my penultimate disciple was able to reach the Holy Realm." She answered him that he got 230 years before his resurrection. Full of aggression, Yibai cursed. On a dark moonlit night, lightning strikes directly on the mausoleum in which the emperor is in a coffin, after which the door to the kingdom begins to open. The robbers standing near the Holy Realm, led by Mr. Lai, take turns thanking him because thanks to him they were able to get here safe and sound. One guy, full of delight, already wants to come up and understand what is inside. And lo and behold, the door is fully opened and behind it is something that looks like a treasure chest. The tomb robbers who approach the expected chest notice the coffin, but they are full of delight and declare that this is the firstborn wood, the highest quality wood. It is the best material for making high-quality spiritual treasures and magnificent magic tools. Too luxurious. Mr. Lee understands that there is a treasure here. He also asks them to pass, let him open it. After opening the coffin, everyone is at a loss. Ibai seemed to be not alive, but the boy felt that he was full of vitality. The other guy, looking straight into the coffin, tells him that he is definitely not alive. They learn more about the man. It turns out that this is the Supreme Devil Emperor, who passed away in a dream on the eve of his birthday. Mr. Lai thought that someone had put a treasure in the High Devil Emperor's mouth and said that they needed to get it. No one expected that by reaching for the dead Emperor's mouth, he would open his eyes frightened. Everyone abruptly jumped away from this chest as the person inside was waiting. The Emperor, who crawled out of this coffin, simultaneously understood that these were tomb robbers. One of Mr. Li's allies asked in confusion why he was here. The Emperor mockingly answers him, "This mausoleum was built for me, and you decided to ask who I am?" Filled with horror and fear, trembling, they realize that the Demon Emperor, but this is impossible. Moreover, how can the Demon Emperor look like a handsome young guy? Mr. Lee, interrupting his friend, declares that it is not him. "Don't try to fool us," the little imp says. Mr. Lee's companion also agrees, and already full of anger, this guy shouted at the Emperor not to pretend to be a fool. However, Yibai was silent. They threatened him that he would soon beg for mercy. The Emperor, mocking, says, "Why are you yelling?" The Tomb Raider decided to attack him. Suddenly, everyone was frozen in shock because no one expected that the guy who called himself Emperor could stop their comrade's sword with just 2 fingers. The thief thinks about how this is even possible since he tried his best. Now, already the evil Emperor says, "What? You want to run away?" It is too late. After this, the Emperor breaks the sword with 2 fingers and grabs him by the throat and lifts him into the air. The guy who was in the air, who was grabbed by the throat, sharply glances at his comrades, who froze in shock from what they saw, and tries to shout, "All of you, why are you standing like a pillar? Why aren't you doing anything? Help me." His friend with an axe in his hands, realizing what needs to be done, quickly runs towards his friend and shouts, "Leave him to me." But then the Emperor says, "Who allowed you to scream in front of me?" After that, he uses his demonic power on Mr. Lee's subordinate. after which he disappears from his hands and goes to another world. A frightened friend of the missing guy asks, "Sir, what should we do now?" But at the same moment, they notice that Mr. Lai is running away, shouting after them, "Why are you still standing there? Run! Compared to life, these treasures are nothing. We need to stay alive." Mr. is thinking to himself, is he really not going to chase after me? To Mr. Li's misfortune, the Emperor decided to use grab magic, after which Mr. Lai fell to the ground and was unable to move. The Emperor walked towards him and asked with a sneer, "Ha, do you want to run away?" Mr. Li's subordinates, who wanted to save themselves, decided to kneel before the Emperor and ask for forgiveness. One of the subordinates kneeling said, "Please, forgive me, my lord. I was hired by him. I had nothing selfish against you in my thoughts." And the other decided to repeat and added that he was simply following his orders. But they were not interesting to the Emperor, therefore he did not bother with them and shouted, "Disappear." After that, Mr. Li's two remaining subordinates also disappeared, going to another world. Mr. Li, who fell to his knees, realized what situation he was in and could not think of anything, but at the same time, his thoughts were filled with only one. He realized that this man was far from human. His thoughts were, "Ghost, he's a ghost," and began to beg for mercy. Kneeling, Mr. Li begged him to let him go. "My lord, please have mercy on me and don't touch me. I promise I won't come back here again." But the Emperor was not interested. Then the Emperor asked him, "Tell me quickly, where are the people who built this tomb now?" Filled with fear, Mr. Li answered him, "My lord, but I don't know who built this tomb." The Emperor's answer was not long in coming, he declared. "Then what's the point of leaving you alive?" Desperate from hopelessness, Mr. Li, standing like a dog on his knees, began to say, "What? No one lord don't know anything, but you can contact the Jingyi Anbu in Yunfen City. They should know who built this tomb." And at that moment, the Emperor asked him, "Repeat, whom should I look for?" In response, he heard in a trembling voice, Jingyi Anbu. This organization founded by a mysterious man 200 years ago. As long as you pay enough money, you can get any information from them. They are very strong. You could say they dominate everything in Zhongyuan. At the same time, the Demon Lord Emperor thought about what Mr. Lai had said. Anbu Jingyi? According to him, it's quite difficult to expand the organization to that extent. Mr. Lai said sharply during the Emperor's thoughts, "My lord, what do you want to know? I can help you find them." But the Emperor was merciless and immediately sent Mr. Lai to another world, saying in the end, "In the next life, don't be so greedy." After all this, a system alert suddenly appeared in front of the Emperor with a task that said that he needed to find all the missing students, for each of which he would find receive a reward. The Emperor started laughing and said, "Haha, looks like now it's finally my turn to harvest a good harvest." And finally, the Emperor came out of the Holy Realm with the words, "Disciples, wait, I'm already coming to you." Meanwhile, in some temple, send someone to deliver a message for Lai Yeshan. Tell her that her house has burned down. Let her come to me first. Also prepare all the team members. This time, I want everyone in the world to know about the rascals who dared to break into my master's tomb. The girl who was a rank 36 Grandmaster said, "Jin Fu. They must be punished." At the same time, all of her subordinates bowed and shouted yes. Then she allowed them to proceed with the task. By that time, the Demon Emperor had already successfully reached Yunfeng City. The whole city is busy. Someone sells peanuts, noodles, someone protective clothing, and someone even divination on the bones. Seeing all this, the Emperor said in surprise, "Wow, Yunfeng City has become much busier than before." And suddenly the Emperor's stomach rumbled, and the frustrated Emperor said, "God, I haven't eaten in 100 years. I'm so hungry." Tilde. While he was frustrated walking the streets of the city, he suddenly heard someone shouting about the line. Glancing in the direction of the screamer, he understood and his mood rose sharply because he found what he needed. Overjoyed, the Emperor shouted on the street, "Wait a minute. Haitian Lao, is that a local McDonald's? Have I returned to Earth again?" Yunfeng City is now thriving thanks to their chef. The only pity is that she is now very busy and is in the Holy Realm, so she does not have time to walk in the city. Hearing this, the Emperor thought of his student. "I remember that among my students, the best cook was Fang Xiaotong. She is at rank 40. Could it be that this is her institution? As a teacher, I should appreciate what her grandchildren have achieved." After which he went into this restaurant, sat down at a table, and began to study the menu. Emperor. Alas, the soup Buddha jumps over the wall is too good. Against this background, all other dishes seem empty and tasteless. While the Emperor was thinking about what to order, there was a man at the next table. His name was Mr. Pam. He sat with two girls and ordered soup. He said, "It cost 10,000 gold coins." In the city of Yunfang, no one can afford this dish except rich people like me. Asterisk pulls one of the girls closer asterisk. The girls were delighted with him when suddenly at the next table the emperor decided to make an order and pay for it with spirit stones, which were more valuable than gold coins. After that, everyone in the restaurant began to whisper about the emperor, because no one knew him, but everyone thought that he is more influential than Mr. Pan. Mr. Pan was angry because of these conversations. Later they brought food. The emperor began to eat, tasting the food. He hoped that it would taste like it was prepared by Fang Xiaotong herself, but after tasting it, he was disappointed, so he abruptly stood up from the table and shouted, "Who cooked this dish? What is it? Food for some pigs." Mr. Pan couldn't help himself when he heard this and also stood up, shouting back to the emperor, "Hey, what are you talking about? Can't you see that I also ordered this soup?" Without stopping there, he continued, "Is a loser like you able to understand the special taste of this dish?" In response, the emperor said to him, "It is designed for dumb-headed morons like you." Mr. Pan got mad. The waiter approached the emperor and answered his question about who prepared this dish by saying that their chef prepared it. The emperor told the waiter to call the chef, and in the background of all this, Mr. Call the boss. Let that old-fashioned turtle take back his words. And so the chef came. "Hello. I heard that even the titled Pan Gonji appreciated my dish. Do you have something to tell me?" Chef Dong Liu, 6th rank. In the restaurant, everyone was only talking about how he dared to make a remark in Haixing Lao. At the end of the horse race, 5 soul gems were spent, but still, I wouldn't dare to do that after reprimanding. In an aggravating atmosphere, Chef Dong Liu asked the emperor, "Please explain to me what you don't like about the dish." But suddenly, he heard something that he did not expect to hear at all. All the ingredients in this soup need to be dried for 49 days to get the most flavor out of it, but instead you put fresh vegetables in it. What qualifications are you a chef anyway? Dong Liu thought to himself, how does he even know that? And the emperor continued to complain about the taste. Ribs could not be baked properly, fish jelly is poorly cooked too long, the meat is too tough because of the wrong temperature, there is very little juice. This is a complete failure. Dong Liu, sweating with excitement, thought only that the restaurant visitor knows more about food than the master. The emperor ended the complaint by saying this, "Do you want to say that this is your best dish?" Mirpan thought the emperor was stupid and wouldn't be able to show anything to the chef and wanted to taunt him. But, suddenly, the chef fell to his knees and began to ask for forgiveness. Everyone was in shock. Then Mirpan got angry and grabbed the chef by the clothes, saying he told you that you made shitty soup and you worship him. Are you out of your mind? The chef replied to Mr. Pan, everything that was said by the elders was true. I really made a terrible soup. After hearing this, Mr. Pan became furious and started yelling. You mean to say that my favorite order is total crap? When suddenly the emperor said, maybe it's you shit eater? Miss Pan tried to object to him, but when he realized that he did not succeed, he tried to grab him, but the emperor reacted faster and pressed his face to the table. The evil emperor said, why are you so daring? I thought that you would be stronger, but it turned out that this was all you were capable of. Mr. Pan threatened the emperor that if he did not let him go, he would feel bad, and he said that he would look at it with pleasure, after which Mr. Pan flew out of the restaurant and passed out. The emperor came out after Mr. Pan, mockingly looking at how severed he lay and said, ha, is that all you can do? Weakling. While all the patrons ran out of the restaurant, Chef Dong Liu understood what was happening. In his mind, he had this. If I understand everything correctly, this young man has a huge concentration of power, so much so that he defeated the young Mr. Pan, who was at the last stage in the profound realm with just one movement. After thinking it over, the chef said to the emperor, Senior, you'll be in trouble now. The emperor glared at him and said, why are you afraid? I just reset his cultivation level, saving his life. Then Dong Liu said to himself, what? Nullified? It's better to go to another world than to lose all your strength. After that, he continued and said to the emperor, Senior, you should hurry up. You've attracted too much attention to yourself. This will not end well. The Scarlet Sun Sect is the highest power in the city. Some elders' cultivation bases have reached the saint level. Their sect master broke into the Holy Emperor realm 100 years ago, and you offended their chief disciple. It won't end well. The emperor answered him, don't worry, there's a town where I can hide for a while. I'm so hungry, I still need to eat. By that time, Chief Dong Liu no longer understood what was happening, because the emperor behaved very calmly, as if nothing had happened. The emperor asked the Chief Dong Liu, by the way, can you help me contact your head boss? But in response, he heard that Dong Liu last met her 5 years ago. Then the emperor asked, doesn't she usually take care of this restaurant? But then Dong Liu answered him that she left all the duties of the restaurant to her students. The emperor, frustrated, thought to himself, damn, I knew things wouldn't be that easy. The system never gives easy tasks. The emperor wanted to ask the chief where to find Jingyi Anbu located in the city of Yunfeng, but the chief told him that he did not know. Then the emperor let him go, but before that he said that he should provide him with food and lodging for the next few days. Moving to what is happening in the sect of the Scarlet Sun. The sect supreme shouted, "What? You said that when Hong cultivation was destroyed?" He was told that it was. The supreme became even more angry and continued to yell, "How dare he act against my disciple of the Scarlet Sun sect?" The servant of the supreme asked the Lord to calm down, and said that the young master was injured by a person with the first level of condensation. That young man, speaking of the emperor, he was able to destroy Wen Hong cultivation in one motion. It is not as simple as it seems. 3 elders will lead a party to the emperor's tomb to get the treasure. There shouldn't be any problem. Please trust us, said all his servants. The supreme one replied to them, good. Quickly send someone over there to keep an eye on the Haitian Lao of those young men. When the 3 elders are done, I will definitely tear this brat into 1,000 pieces. In the Holy Realm, upon hitting the coffin, Lai Yushin said, I didn't expect those mindless vegetables to steal a master's body. Lai Yushin is rank 20 of the Jade Realm. She continued to say, the body of a master is outside the realm of body purification. For ordinary people, such a body is useless. But if it is the Lord of the Holy Land? What if he is the Lord of the Holy Land? I dare to return the master's body even if it means fighting for life and death. She was distracted by her sister and tried to stop her, after which she said that someone had destroyed the outer protective wall and broke the formation. Len Yushin said, don't give him a reason. Protect this place like your own home. After what was said, the supreme servants appeared in the Holy Kingdom, but they did not know that there would be a Lai Yushin who came out to them and shouted, hey, how dare you rob this tomb? The servants of the Supreme replied to her, saying that she was here for the same purpose and threatened her that if she did not leave the treasures in place, then she would have problems. The sisters looked at each other, and then the sister asked Lai Yushin, Sister, shall we leave a couple in this world? The servants decided that they were just fools because there were only 2 of them, and they had a lot of good fighters and shouted, well, dear ladies, you yourself asked for it. Attack. After that, the servants ran furiously towards the sisters. Then the sister used frenzy magic in conjunction with the imperial formation. By the time she used only this magic, the most talkative of the supreme servants realized that they could not defeat these sisters. He could only think that he would not be able to fight back and tremble with fear. Then he asked the sisters, what is your relationship with the soul-devouring demon? Lai Yushin shouted back at him, what? How do you know this formation? The remaining servant got scared and said that she couldn't kill him. It turned out that the second sister's name was Xiao Fufu. Xiao Fufu used self-digging magic, which she had not used for a long time at Lai Yushin. When Lai Yushin saw her soul-searching again, she tauntedly said, hey Xiao Fufu, it's been so many years, why haven't your skills increased? Your ability to steal memories much worse than the master. Xiao Fufu answered her offended, I'm trying my best to reach the level of a master. Paffed. And Lai Yushin said she was just joking. After that, Xiao invited Lai to go to Yunfeng City, the Scarlet Sun sect. Lai supported Xiao's proposal. Back to the Demon Emperor. Sitting at home, he practiced, and suddenly, after just half a day, he was able to break through to the second stage of Imperial Concentration. After receiving, he laughed and declared, I am worthy to reach the peak that no one has seen, and change my life in spite of everything. Then he thought and said, I don't know if I can break through this state of concentration within a month. The emperor wanted to go outside, but suddenly he heard some noise from the street and decided to ask the chief Dong Liu about what was happening there, and he answered that people were talking about some kind of ship flying in the sky the size of a mountain. The emperor thought, a flying ship the size of a mountain? Could it be? The emperor suggested that Dong Liu go out and look at this ship with him, suggesting that maybe this ship would land in Yunfeng City. The chief agreed and went along with him, but on the road he could not keep up with the emperor at all. Suddenly the chief thought. He was at the first level of Imperial Concentration. How could he reach such a level in just one day? He did the impossible. The emperor looked at the ship that was in the sky and thought, and isn't this Noah's Ark? This ship belongs to Lai Yushin, a student of the 20th rank, and the boss interrupted his thoughts and said, stop, and isn't that the Scarlet Sun sect under the ship? Could that mean the ship will land near it? The emperor was interested and answered him, Scarlet Sun sect? Let's go see. The ship stopped. A Lai Yushin came out of it, shouting, Sunyuanho, get your ass over here. The locals were watching all this. They thought she was crazy because she went out in the open against the Scarlet Sun sect master. The emperor found his first disciple, but he suddenly became interested in why Yushin decided to conflict with them. At the same time, Yushin thought that she didn't expect the Crimson Sun sect to reach the Night Emperor's tomb 13 times in those 2 years, and every time it happens more and more, the disappearance of the master's body definitely has something to do with them. When suddenly an elder of the Scarlet Sun sect appears out of nowhere, asking, "Who are you? You have no right to call the patriarch by his first name." All the servants standing below suddenly spoke of the elder with admiration. One said that the great elder had recently broken through to the 8th level of the Saint realm, and the other said that he could cut through mountains and rivers with a careless blow of his energy sword. All the servants were surprised. They dreamed of meeting the great elder in person. Yushin answered him, "Hey, do not rush to go to another world. Now is not your turn." Thus angering the elder, who then brandished his energy sword and yelled, "What the?" furiously. But to everyone's surprise, his sword did not even touch the Yushin. The battle of the strongest began. The weaklings below could only think of their amazing strength, which they could barely see. When Yushin went into action, the elder was already frightened. He thought that maybe she had the power of the Holy Realm. He was so frightened that he was afraid to continue the battle. But Yushin was not going to let him go so easily and decided to use her magic, after which everyone standing there was in shock. They couldn't believe that the 8th tier Saint Realm's greatest elder had been defeated. No one even knew this girl, but she already scared everyone. After the elder's defeat, the one she came for came out. He said, "I kept thinking what kind of powerful person dared to come to my Scarlet Sun sect and cause trouble. Master of Divine Architecture, Miss Yushin, I wonder what brings you here?" Yushin waved her sword towards the head of the sect and said, "Give me everything you stole from the Emperor's grave, otherwise I will have to use force, and then you will have to go to another world." The sect master boldly replied, "Girl, don't forget, this is the Crimson Sun sect. Who gave you the right to open your mouth? The master who follows the subpath dares to threaten me. If I destroy you, Demon Emperor Disciple, people will admire me." When suddenly Yushin began to laugh. "Oh, even so, well, try," and then shouted, "The target is the Scarlet Sun sect. Attack indiscriminately." Then the unexpected happened. The head of the sect, using magic, started the formation and thought about how this could happen. The rest who remained on the ground spoke only about this airship. At such a pace, he would soon raise the Scarlet Sun sect to the ground. The Demon Emperor, Yushin Master, was watching all this, and next to him was Chef Dong Liu, who got scared and asked the Emperor, "Senior, why don't we run away with the others?" To which the Emperor told him not to worry and look up. An incredible thing was happening upstairs. Sect leader, "Huh, you think I'm weak? Attack." After which he attacked the Yushin with a sword, and she stopped this one with one fell swoop. The Emperor, who watched this, laughed. Dong Liu did not understand why he was laughing and asked what made him so amused. Dong Liu said to the Emperor, "She has a very beautiful costume, doesn't she? She managed to repel the attack of this sword in an instant." The Emperor replied with a smile, "This is my girl," and in his mind he was proud of his pupil, while the great battle of the two magicians was going on. At some point, due to negligence, the Yushin got into the magic chain set by the head of the sect. The head of the sect thought that everything would end there and wants to take a decisive step that would send Yushin to another world, but then Xiao Fufu decided to declare herself, when she suddenly screamed, "Hey, Su Yanhao, you dare to hurt my elder sister. Your Crimson Sun sect is finished. I will use it to restore the formation." That's all, the first part has come to an end. Write in the comments and also subscribe if you want to continue. Don't forget to watch the rest of the videos. See you soon.